In America's post-World War I days, the Roaring '20s, there was in most of the nation an impulse to move ahead, an impulse that often implied great change. On Maryland's Eastern Shore, that was translated to mean, especially, improvements in our educational system. And locally, one of the loudest and most forceful voices came from Mr. Will Holloway, who, with others in Salisbury and the state, were determined to improve the way young teachers were taught to teach. The result here was construction of the Maryland State Normal School at Salisbury. From groundbreaking in October 1923 to opening in 1925, the institution had one mission: to produce well-educated and professionally trained elementary school teachers for the rural Eastern Shore. The atmosphere among the small populace of students, faculty, administrators, and even maintenance staff was that of a family. Student life in the 30s and 40s retained some of the formality and family spirit. Everyone dressed for dinner in the dining hall. Miss Ruth Powell held weekly teas to teach the social graces, and May Day, that tribute to spring incorporating physical education and dance classes, celebrated that festive occasion with the elementary school students from the campus school. But there were new things beginning to appear on campus: men, and even a new name, Salisbury State Teachers College, and a new president, J.D. Blackwell, in 1935. The 1930s also had brought serious new challenges, chief among them the Great Depression. Coping with dwindling student enrollment, inadequate funding would have been enough to deal with. But on its heels came World War II. New challenges came: students and faculty members leaving for military duty, rationing, and adapting a curriculum to meet the needs of much more than rural elementary schools. Competition for student enrollment also led to the offering of an Associate of Arts degree for local youth who might start at Salisbury and then transfer elsewhere. Cooperative programs and classes for nursing students enrolled at Salisbury Hospital were introduced. More emphasis was given to sports and athletics. The college began to take on a new look. The changes at STC in the 1950s were most visible to the community in the campus building projects. A traditional landmark on Camden Avenue, the Castle, the Allen family home and orchard property, were acquired by the college and became the site of a new home for the president. A new library was constructed, along with a separate dorm for men, and a new campus demonstration elementary school. Even in the original building, Holloway Hall, which once had housed every function at the school, there was renovation. A new student center and bookstore in the basement, a social room where the old library had been. A new president also came in the post-World War II days. Wilbur Devilbiss was just the right combination of Salisbury's traditional ties to public education, teacher training, with a new emphasis on demanding academic performance. Under his leadership, a new move toward the liberal arts was emphasized. In 1963, this became quite obvious with another new name, Salisbury State College, omitting the teachers from the title. The college was now a liberal arts institution. New faculty whose backgrounds were in academic disciplines rather than teacher education were recruited. An expanded view of student life was added. A new gymnasium, women's dorms, a real student union. In fact, the campus began to look like a real college campus in the 60s and 70s. By 1979, there were 7 dorms, even one high-rise. A separate dining hall, cafeteria, snack bar replaced the days of starched tablecloths, waiters, and dressing for dinner. The incorporation of the new Ward Brothers Museum was a reflection of the institution's welcoming of the arts. And football came to Salisbury. Whoever would have guessed, complete with marching band. Other student innovations would have left Mr. Will and Miss Ruth gasping. Keg parties and Oktoberfest, for example. The faculty changed too. President Doublebiss left in 1968, was succeeded by President Douglas Smith, who was staunchly devoted to the liberal arts and modernizing the campus. Dr. Smith left in 1970, and his successor, Dr. Norman Crawford, took on the tasks of expansion and, as it turned out, survival. The challenges of the Depression, war, civil rights, and changing social attitudes paled when compared to President Crawford's immediate challenge, the threat from the state level of closing Salisbury completely. Crawford met the challenge with programs that would bring rapid growth of enrollment numbers, expanded student attractions such as football, fraternities, and social life, and a new program of collaboration with our sister institution, the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore in Princess Anne. Needless to say, homecoming in the 70s was a far cry from homecoming in the 20s, but it worked. When Dr. Crawford left in 1979 to be succeeded for a year by interim President Nayland Page, who stepped up from the history department, the new road was clearly charted. It would be clarified and modified by new president, Dr. Tom Bellavance, who would lead Salisbury for longer than anyone since Dr. T.J. Blackwell, who had been president from 1935 to 1955. One of the first challenges taken on by Dr. Bellavance was to find a way for the college to become financially independent and stable. The result was spectacular. Within a few years, SSC not only became Salisbury State University, but 3 of its major academic programs were endowed by private benefactors: the Purdue Business School, the Fulton School of Liberal Arts, and the Henson School of Science and Technology. And new renovation and building projects appeared. In addition, a major gift from the Guerreri family made possible the building of a new university center. The campus not only looked new, the curriculum, student life, and the relationship with the community took on a fresh face. Some of the freshness simply kept the traditional in new garb. Diana, a fixture from the 20s, was recreated in the new university center, and the old pergola, long gone, was recreated in a bigger and better version. Important artwork, especially sculpture, appeared across the newly landscaped campus. More building and endowments followed. The magnificent new Commons building and an alumni house were constructed in 1997. And in the 90s also came the endowment of the School of Education and Professional Studies by Sam and Marilyn Seidel, of the theater program by Bobby Byron, of the Research Center for Delmarva History and Culture by Ed Knabb, and of the Student Leadership Center by Michael Scarborough in 2001. Even the tragic death of President Bellavance in 1995 did not stop the momentum. Under the interim presidency of Dr. Nelson Butler, and then the presidency of Dr. William Merwin from 1996 to 1999, the institution grew. Another name change to Salisbury University indicated yet another philosophical direction promoted by President Merwin. Under his leadership, the college undertook a quest for national eminence. Recognition by other institutions, not only in Maryland or the Mid-Atlantic region, but nationwide, was aggressively pursued. Even after Dr. Merwin's resignation and during the interim presidency of Dr. Joel Jones, and now under the leadership of Dr. Janet Dudley Eschbach, this goal has been sought and achieved. We are now proud to be considered a university of national distinction. What a journey!